You are tuned to Kenneth Zenith Cablevision. Thank you for watching. It's time for talk. Each evening at this time, Monday through Friday, Rosemary interviews local personalities and others who bring items of interest to this community. Time for Talk is a community betterment service. Tonight, Rosemary takes us by means of portable camera out of our studios and maybe into your neighborhood. And now, it's time for Talk.
Tonight finds us back in the archives of the daily Dunklin Democrat. This is a fascinating place. I wish we had time to just look through all of these things, especially the old ones. Now, not the last 10 or 15 or 20 years, which is current for me, but the old-time things. We decided, some things were brought to our attention, and we decided we'd look back into the bringing of the Ely Walker plant into Kennett. We found the date was 1923. But when we start researching 1923 in these files of the Dunklin Democrat, we come across a very interesting thing. And I don't even know who to ask about this because nobody goes back this far. You see here's the Dunklin Democrat. And there are also books here, Dunklin County News. Now, it says let me find this page. Published every Friday. W.R. Plunkett was the editor and manager. The subscription rate was $1.50 a year in advance. Now then, the Dunklin Democrat had as its publisher, and the pages are so brittle that you have to be very careful with it. Will A. Jones, editor and manager. Advertising rates and the subscription rates were here. Let me see what his subscription. Well, I don't see how much this cost. But two newspapers, same dates, same times, here in this county, which is amazing. But now look, the print is the same. They come off of the same printing press. The style is the same. All of the type is the same. I don't know how long this went on. We need someone to tell us the history of this paper. As I told you, we were going to look at the history of the shirt factory here, the Ely Walker Shirt Factory, and look at these headlines. Kennett has a chance to get a garment factory located here. A mass meeting to be held at the courthouse tonight. Must qualify at once if we're to be the lucky ones. Other southeast cities bid for the factory. And when you read down here, you find out the city had to furnish a site and a building according to their specifications at a cost of $25,000 and maintain it for approximately 5 years at a cost of approximately $5,000. That means taxes and insurance. Secure pledges of enough labor to begin operation with a minimum of 100 operators. They were going to hire 100 people. So everyone was excited. Now, the next week, this paper said, shirt factory assured may increase the capacity. The city has met all of its requirements. This is a week later. This is January the 19th, 1923. The $30,000 has been raised. More than enough applications for employment have been secured, and the site has been secured. In short, everything that remains to be done has been done. All arrangements have been made. They're going to begin work on the building at once. Now, this is January 1923. Actually, I know from later papers that they're into this plant in August of 23. So they have more than enough people who have put in an application, and it's assured for here in Kennett. It'd be interesting to see how long the two papers continue. We'll try to follow along with this. February the 2nd, 1923, contract for shirt factory has been closed. The building will be larger than originally proposed to increase the capacity. And we'll follow this through because I know for a fact that the very first operation of this shirt factory took place up over James Caan's in was the old Opera House. We'll see if we can find the record of that.
Sol, you mentioned something else that was extremely interesting to me about the Ely Walker plant.
Yes, in the early 1920s, Ely Walker, which at that time was headquartered in St. Louis, decided that they would build a factory in Kennett. And they picked the location, but it would take them about 2 years to build a building, get the machinery here. This building, at that time, had already ceased to be used as an opera house, and Mr. Frank Shelton owned it at the time and made it available to Ely Walker as a home for the factory until they could get located in the new building, which was being constructed in South Main. So this, for about 3 years, was the home of the Ely Walker Shirt Factory, the original home of the Ely Walker Shirt Factory.
Interesting. I think in your camera's eye right now, you see from this opera house the view across to the Ely Walker plant. Completed in what year, Sol?
The plant was completed, I believe, in approximately 1924.
Mm-hmm.
The building stayed empty then until 1925 when my uncle came to Kennett.
Turn the pages. I want you to know that a Ford touring car, the new price was $298. And look at that. Cloth top, I mean. Douglas Motor Company, Kennett, Missouri. Don't know where that was. No address given. Now, giving Ford a run for its money, the Dodge Brothers touring car, and look at this, Riggs Motor Company in Kennett. That's interesting. Of course, it could have been a different Riggs than the hardware Riggs, but Riggs Motor Company. There's no price on this. This must have been a very attractive price. But we're looking for the Ely Walker record of the Ely Walker things. March 16, 1923, the spirit of the American Doughboy. It's to be a pure bronze statue. This is a reproduction of a life-size bronze statue symbolizing the spirit of the American Doughboy, which is proposed to be erected in the courthouse yard in Kennett to the memory of the many Dunklin County sons who gave their lives in the Great War with Germany. Of course, we've had a few other wars since then, but this 1918 called the Great War with Germany. They have a committee that's going to try to raise money. The statue, when mounted on the stone base, will stand 15 feet in height. Now, I don't know what happened to these plans, but they never really gelled, and what did come is what we documented to be raised there on the courthouse yard back, how many years ago? I've lost track, 15 years ago. This monument, complete, would cost $2,500, and the state of Missouri was going to provide $1,000. I don't know what happened to those plans. Kennett is growing. School attendance at present is 875, and the school attendance 9 years ago, when the last schoolhouse was built, is 535. We've had a 340 student increase in attendance. Provide for the children's future. Vote for the loan. Annual school election Tuesday, April 3rd. And the date of this was March 30th, 1923. Large vote in that Tuesday's election. The annual school election and the city election at April 3rd was an unusually interesting one. All school measures, including the bond issue, were carried by overwhelming majorities. Drew Vartel and M.W. Lloyd, the two members whose term of office expired, were reelected without opposition. And then they give the city election figures and results. Now, as we turn the page, you'll notice that there are just no photographs in these old papers because it was a complicated process. Let me see, I must have missed something in here. As we turn the pages, here's a picture of a stump, and there were a lot of them in 1923. Blow them out for less money. And here's a new DuPont explosive. It's not dynamite, it's called Dumarite. stick for stick, it gives you a third more sticks for each dollar. And of course, it was for sale at Shelton Riggs. Men's suits with extra trousers were $24.75. And look at this. Look at this. I know now why everybody wore overalls. Men's heavy overalls, $1.50 value for 95 cents. That's why everybody wore overalls to school. Nobody had a suit. It was on at the Palace Theater, The Prisoner of Zenda. It's a story of royal romance and of adventure as breathless and flashing as sword play. And, of course, this has to be a silent picture, because I don't think talkies came in until when? 29. And look at the price, 10 cents and 30 cents. And also there was a two-reel comedy with Al St. John. May 4th, 1923, Shirt Factory will have trial run in new quarters. We'll be operating 128 machines before the new building is ready for occupancy. And let's see where that the machines are run by electricity. The power being furnished from 4 3.5 horse motors, electric power motors. Electricians ran the lines to the building today. Now, where is that building? Possible there'll be 25 operators at work. No cutting will be done in the temporary plant, and all of the piece goods will come from the St. Louis factory. Some of the workers began in the Ely Walker factory on May 9th, and they're now getting to be experts on the machines. Now, this is May 25th. They've been at it 2 weeks. And the instructors are well pleased with the progress. All of the work is of the same character and has been laid out. Now here, when a beginner goes to work, she is guaranteed a salary, and as she progresses, the salary is reduced 50 cents each week, and at the end of 10 weeks, she should be able to earn from $15 to $20 a week, according to her ability to turn out the work. You didn't know how to sew when you went there.
No, you didn't have to know how to sew. She would have a teacher teach you how to sew and do the job, and then give you a 3 months period of reaching the production amount.
So what would you do? Would you get a salary to begin, and you didn't have to have certain production while you were learning?
Yeah, you got a straight salary per hour.
Okay.
And then when you got where you could put out production, if you made over the amount that they wanted you to put out each day, then you got extra for that.
Were you ever able to get the extra?
A little bit over.
But not much.
No, they had it too high.
Okay. Two things here catch our eye as we're trying to find the opening of the Ely Walker plant. The Ku Klux Klan holds a meeting near Caruth. There was a basket supper, and it was members of the Ku Klux Klan of Kennett and Zenith, and all Klansmen were invited. And big as life in this September 21st, 1923 issue of half page. Ku Klux Klan, do you want to know more about this mysterious order of which so much is being said? No matter what your sentiments are, you should hear the story as told by Dr. C.B. Stewart. Public address in the vacant field 2.5 miles northeast of Kennett near the Ely School. Dr. Stewart is a pastor of the First Baptist Church of Kansas City and one of the noted orators. Everybody's invited, parents, teachers, ministers, and they're going to begin at 7:30.
You have been watching Time for Talk. Time for Talk is a community betterment service designed to cooperate with our local community betterment program. Each evening, Monday through Friday at this time, Rosemary interviews local personalities and others who bring items of interest to this community. If you are aware of items of interest, please let us know for possible airing on this program. Time for Talk is brought to you through the cooperation of Kennett Cablevision Incorporated and is produced through the facilities of the Slicer Street Church. The Holy Scriptures come alive. Coming up next. Stay tuned.